So first, as a quick reminder of who are we, Women4Global Fund was built many years ago already, and we're bringing together women's and girls advocates' voices to advance gender equality to the Global Fund partnership. And we are together to have a gender transformative HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria response. We have been growing, and since last year, we have grown to be 433 advocates spanning and present in 82 countries. We can see here in the map that we have been well distributed, and our fight is being carried the flag by many advocates already around the world. So thank you to all our advocates that have been joining and supporting our efforts. We're aiming to strengthen women's and girls' participations in all decision-making processes in global health at the different levels, national, regional, and global, and ensuring that our voices are shaping how the Global Fund is working, and of course, also supporting all the structures in global health architecture. Next, please. And when we mean by women and girls in all the diversity, it's very important for us to recall that diversity is our strength. We're embracing women and girls, including, of course, those who are living with HIV and affected by tuberculosis and malaria. This is our priority. We embrace our diversities with LGBTQI colleagues and women and friends, women who use drugs, sex workers, adolescents, indigenous women, migrants, women in human mobility, refugees, and women living in incarcerated settings or with visible and invisible disabilities. This is our strength, and this is the important part of all the work that we are doing, is ensuring that this is meaningful participation is guaranteed. So for us, meaningful participation really means having the diverse women and girls actively involved, engaged, and participating in the decision-making processes that are affecting and making decisions around our lives. We want to have the power and encourage our advocates and partners to influence the policies and strategies that are ensuring equal, informed, and representative participation that is shaping the responses, especially to eliminate stigma and discrimination, as we know that these are the systematic inequalities that are deterring us from accessing comprehensive health services, especially for HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria, but mostly because we want to ensure that the right to health is positioned as a human right. The next, please. And we know that this past last year, 2025, 2024 too, was a complicated year for critical funding. And we are all still facing the consequences of gender backlash and the restrictions on civic space for many organizations, CSOs, community-based organizations. It has not been an easy year. And we stand in solidarity. We have been staying stronger together for fighting what mattered the most. And this has been a special year because we were in the Global Fund's aid replenishment. And we know that amidst this, there were lots of challenges connected to shrinking ODA, official development aid, the grant cycle aid reprioritization, which also brought lots of challenges to our civil society and advocates groups. But we thought it was very important to keep on together and positioning gender, human rights, and community-led interventions and programs to be at the center of the responses. So that's why we have put a lot of efforts and energy also to build on programmatic lines, advocacy, communications efforts, and evidence-based influencing to position community rights and gender at the center of the HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria response. We have been fighting together the anti-gender movements, and they have been powerful and coordinated, but we have resisted, and we have been putting gender equality, feminist principles, and also the recognition of gender diversity at the center of our advocacy efforts and campaigns. Sadly, we have to mention that there's a global gender backlash that continues to be in place. And according to UN Women last year, there were incidents around gender backlash and regressions in one of each 4 countries in the world. So we are estimating that also 2 billion people are living currently in fragile, conflict-affected regions where health systems have been suffering and are under a lot of pressure. We have been seeing also higher mortality rates and difficulties in disease surveillance. And that's why we need to keep stronger and working together for strategizing and making this health services more people-centered and gender transformative. We're also facing climate change programs, increasing pressure on the health systems. And that's why we need this information to be used to inform decision makers and support health services to be community-led and gender transformative. Please, let's go to the next one. And I want to stop here now first, because this background is giving us lots of information on why this has been a challenging environment for us. However, there's a lot of efforts that we have been coordinated with several partners. And first, I want to give the floor to Alia Mimi, our gender advocacy lead, who is going to tell about the approach and the efforts and the key milestones of this year connected to our advocacy efforts and the key actions and reach that we have been able to support our partners and advocates in achieving a more gender transformative and coordinated advocacy. As for the aid replenishment, as for the Grand Cycle 7 reprioritization, and many other international, local, and regional spaces in which we have been able to participate. So from my side, I thank you very much, and I give the floor to Alia, that she will continue with the presentation. Thank you so much, Alia. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Angela. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and Happy New Year. Today I will present to you our advocacy milestones and key actions. But before moving into our advocacy milestones, I want to briefly explain how Women for Global Fund approaches advocacy because, like Angela said, last year, our work was deeply technical and at the same time political because it was really anchored in the architecture of the Global Fund and global health governance. And this included the replenishment financing, the Grand Cycle 7 reprioritization, gender equality requirement, and also community participation and accountability mechanism. 2025 was really critical. The convergence of the Global Fund aid replenishment, the shrinking ODAs, really created a risk for gender transformative human rights and community-led intervention to be deprioritized. And Women for Global Fund, objective was really to ensure that women and girls in all their diversity are not just visible, but they are technically equipped and politically positioned to participate, to intervene through advocacy letters, through formal statements, policy briefs, capacity strengthening, mentorship programs, and also direct engagement in decision-making spaces. Here we can see, the core of Women for Global Fund advocacy strategies in 2025. So our work really focused on three main technical entry points, which are the 8 replenishment campaign, Grand Cycle 7 reprioritization, and also protecting gender transformative programming within the HIV, TB, and malaria response, and specifically within the Global Fund response. So through our Replenish the World campaign, Women for Global Fund national focal points delivered 64 advocacy letters to embassy of major donor countries in 11 implementing countries. So these letters really explicitly linked national diplomatic commitments to the replenishment targets. So it had gender equality obligations and the need to safeguard investments in gender transformation for human rights and also for community-led interventions. And my colleague Andrea will explain more in details the campaign that we have conducted. And in parallel, Women for Global Fund co-developed a feminist manifesto with ICW. titled "What We Cannot Live Without." So during the Grant Cycle 7 reprioritization process, we produced a document that really articulates the non-negotiable programmatic priorities for women and girls in all their diversity. And it was used as the main advocacy tools to really challenge the cuts for preventions, for community system strengthening, and also for right-based services. So beyond the campaigns, we invested in influencing technical and knowledge space. So we participated to conferences, regional and international conferences like the World Conference on Lung Health, and we contributed to the discussion on stigma by analyzing how TB stigma is really shaped by gender norms and caregiving roles and also discrimination. Also, Women for Global Fund participated and was represented by Angela at the summer school in public health policy, economics and management at the Swiss Tropical and Public Health Institute. And this engagement was really an opportunity to translate our women's perspective and community perspective into a language of health economics, policy designs, and also system strengthening. Next, please. We also participated in different high-level advocacy spaces, like the 53rd Global Fund Board meeting in Geneva. And we carried women and girls' priorities into the discussions with the Global Fund Board for the Grant Cycle 7 implementation and reprioritization. And this engagement really focuses on protecting gender equality, protecting human rights, and also community system strengthening investments. And across the year, we were able to produce more than 71 advocacy documents. It includes statements, policy briefs, technical tools, and also infographics that Andrea will share with you. And these documents are really tailored to many structures and organizations like the Global Fund, UNAIDS, WHO, also the Commission on the Status of Women, the World Health Summit, and all other partners. And we also co-organized a very important side event during World Health Summit on indigenous, community-led, and gender transformative action in partnership with SOPEME, Frontline AIDS, and Unite Parliamentarians Networks. And it was an important space where we discussed and positioned women and community leadership and gender justice as a very important technical component for an effective health response for HIV, TB, and malaria. And also, importantly, Women for Global Fund organized many country webinars on FGS, female genital schistosomiasis, and to discuss how we can really advocate to integrate FGS into HIV and SRHR services, and to recognize it within gender transformative programming framework within the Global Fund. Next. So here we can see, our main focus as Women for Global Fund on mentorship program and capacity strengthening, which is really central to our advocacy model. Because we conducted hybrid and in-person mentorship workshops in Cameroon, Malawi, and Uganda that are led with our national focal points, and that are only a continuation of the mentorship programs that we conducted in 2024, 2023. So these workshops really covered the Global Fund governance structures, the grant architecture, and also the budget prioritization, the advocacy strategy, and engagement with CCMs and decision makers. So beyond these technical tools and beyond the fact that we are giving strategic information to young women to be able to advocate, these spaces are also a trusted space for peer learning and for collective strategy building, especially for young women who are just engaging with the CCMs and the decision-making spaces. We also launched the Asia Pacific Regional Learning and Advocacy Hub, which was the final advocacy hub that we had to launch. And we kept strengthening existing hubs to create sustain regional platforms for coordinations, for sharing information, learning, and also to create a joint advocacy rather than one-off engagements. Next. Um, so this is also, some pictures from the mentorship programs and the workshop that we have organized. And I think you can find all this information in the tools that we compile and share with you. Next. So, like I said, we invest in long-term advocacy infrastructures by producing tools that women and girls can use. And we produce 71 advocacy briefs and technical tools that are designed to support women to engage in advocacy spaces. It can be on Malaria Day, on CSW, and the UNAIDS PCB, Global Fund Board. So these tools really translate, our analysis, women's and girls' lived experience, and also community data into policy relevant languages. And it enables women advocates to engage confidently in technical discussions and to try to influence the program designs, the grant designs, and also to hold the institutions accountable. So, just to conclude about our advocacy work, I say that, for Women for Global Fund, it's not only about the volume of actions that we do, but it's about, technical intentionality. And we want women and girls not to be just on the margin. We want them to be equipped with tools that can give them ability to intervene in funding debates, to influence the funding decisions, and also move forward and advocate for more gender transformative funding and actions. Thank you. And I'll give the floor now to Andrea to present our global campaigns and communication campaigns.
Thank you, Aliyah, so much. Hello, everyone. I am very, very excited to be sharing this webinar with you. So many colleagues that in throughout the year we always are in calls and emails, and it's very excited to take a moment at the beginning of the year that it's part of our accountability commitment to show you what we have done and also invite you to come along for the next year. Well, in the communications and community side, we had a challenge that Angela already expressed it so well. We had this very challenging environment, and with that environment, we wanted to expand our already ongoing campaigns from last year that are based on one conviction, that is when we fund women's health, communities thrive. And when we find women and girls in their diversity, health, and autonomy, it has a multiplier effect. And we wanted to support the already ongoing campaigns from partners and colleagues. And we wanted to fill one gap which is the conversation around how these processes and global dynamics in global health and the global fund processes are affecting women and girls in all of the diversity. So last year we had one major campaign, which was the aid replenishment campaign, and we wanted to place women and girls in all their diversity experiences and lives at the center, not only collecting data and evidence on what are the multiplier effects on investing in health, but also to place experience from women advocates, leaders, community health workers, um, and women as also scientific, women as community leaders, like I said, at the center. So we had production of infographics and tools that can also be used for advocacy with concrete data and evidence, but we also made a series of videos and which storytelling was central, where women and girls in the diversity in first hand, they were speaking and talking about how Global Fund's investments can be transformative to the lives of women and girls who are sometimes on the side. In this campaign, we reached 11,000 and almost 1,500 people. And we had 6,700 people engaged, which means that these people were commenting, liking, sharing, using these tools. That we also developed a communication and advocacy toolkit that you can find on our website very soon. It's already on our website, but we having some issues, but will be with the website, but it will be on very soon. You can find all of the tools and information from our communication advocacy campaign from the aid replenishment on our website. We also were present and advocating on critical days for us, for our agenda as in our mission, like World Malaria Day, World TB Day, World HIV Day. We partner with our organization, colleagues, to have a say on what are women and girls' priorities on those programs, on HIV, TB, and malaria programs, and how we can advance those programs to be gender transformative. And also a very important campaign for us is the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence this is the third year in a row that we joined this UN Women campaign. And we always try in this campaign to highlight the stories and the voices from women and girls who are working in the HIV community, who are working to expand sex workers' rights, who are working to make visible the struggles and the priorities of women who use drugs. So we're trying to spotlight these gaps that sometimes in this broad campaign are sidelined. So in this campaign, we also had a reach of 2,500 people. And for us, more than numbers is to make visible these lives and the stories of women and girls who we are working with, that we love so much, and also this to be a tool for you and your advocacy. We had also global engagement in different key events where we bring all of these tools and all of these advocacy statements and documents, so we can disseminate them, so we can use them, and we can build a stronger network of women and girls in the diversity all around the world, So last year we were present at the GFAN annual meeting, in the Harm Reduction International Conference, in the Women in HIV workshop in Barcelona. We also did an event for the Support Don't Punish campaign in Ecuador. We were in the IS Heard of Stigma Forum in Nairobi, in the Well Cornell Women in Global Health in New York, in World Health Summit in Berlin, and in the INSU conference in Cape Town, and so many other places, but these were the highlights. And we developed and launched the key strategic advocacy resources, like our key resources for gender transformative advocacy, which is a document that compile all of the guides, posters, policy and advocacy briefs, toolkits, reports from our work, the most important resources that we have developed in collaboration with other organizations, partners, and advocates, to address issues like cervical cancer, address issues like how to navigate the granting cycle in Global Fund, and also how to implement the community-led monitoring methodology for women and girls to be the ones who make accountable the Global Fund and also health programs within their own countries. We also translated the guide of how to become an effective country coordinated mechanism member. We translated the guide into Spanish and into French, which is a guide with very concrete step-by-step information and recommendations to engage meaningfully on this structure, which are fundamentally for Global Fund's participation and democratization. And lastly, we developed a roadmap for advocacy for the aid replenishment, in which we translated our own methodology, like Alia expressed it so well, and she told the methodology of engagement with major donor countries, and that advocacy and engagement roadmap for the aid replenishment includes a major donor analysis and a regional priorities of women and girls. So advocates all around the world can tailor and can design their own advocacy strategy that can satisfy their own interest and taking into account the national context and what are the priorities of major donors. So overall, 2025, we achieved 19 collaborations for advocacy and communications with 22 organizations. We know and we believe strongly in networking and strengthen our global health advocates network with loved organizations like our partners from CS4Me, ICW, people who have been, fundamental to 2025 for our mission. And we want also to take a moment to express our gratitude for these collaborations and so many more that I wanted to also spotlight how those collaborations are fundamental for advocacy work and communication to reach farther. And we reached 7,200 people through our social media channels. And our seminars, workshops, and online meetings attracted 1,975 participants, which is the highest engagement in our story. 2025 was a very important year for us because of these numbers, which are showing that our work and our reach is expanding, and we are consolidating a beautiful network of advocates and people who are committed to expanding the right of health for all women. And we developed 16 statements and call to action signed by 221 people. So big thanks for this. We couldn't have done it without you. And please, my last call and my last say will be to, if you aren't engaged already on our social media and our media channels, please follow us. You can scan the QR code to follow us on Twitter, X, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And what do we aim for 2026? I will stop here and I will give the floor back to our global coordinator, Angela, so she can also talk a little bit what are we aiming for the next year.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrea and Alia, also for your presentation. I think it's amazing how we have been supporting our advocates. And of course, we have been navigating challenges also with evidence-based information and stronger advocacy. I want also to take this opportunity to thank again all our partners and collaborations, all colleagues. We have been doing great by building a roadmap of actions for advocacy, communications and campaigning, and we want to keep on strengthening our programmatic and advocacy efforts in this year. So that's why we have created this slide which shows our intentions and our ideas on how we can increase our mutual visibility, strengthen HIV, TB, and malaria-related advocacy efforts, and of course, implement more effective, efficient, and clearly gender transformative, comprehensive responses at the different levels, and ensuring that the Global Fund is responsive and adequate, equitable for women and girls in diversity. So mainly what we want to keep on building in this new year, and that's why we are calling also for our partners, potential fundraising efforts also to increase capacity building and mentorship programs. We have seen the importance of continuing our programs in the different regions, and we have case studies and lessons learned from the countries in which we are going to show afterwards this slide. We want to also mobilize together funding for the H3M response. Can you go back to the same slide, please, Pame? Can you go back to the previous slide? Thank you. So, sorry, maybe we just have a bit of.
Sorry, I'm not presenting it.
Can we have please the slide again? Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry. And we want to continue on our gender transformative advocacy. If you want to share stories and share us also with us and collaborate in communication campaign, we're welcoming our partners to join us in communication and community engagement, resource mobilizations, by pitching grants and program implementation. We want to be increasing our networking meetings and influencing decision makers and conferences and global international events. And of course, one of the important highlights also of our year is that we want to keep on researching, implementing community-led monitoring, gender assessments, supporting partners to have stigma indexes and related programs, and also have more evidence-based messaging. For this 2026, we're opening more into driving access also to HIV prevention tools, and we want to work on lenacapavir scale up in the African region, starting by that, but also coordinated efforts from lenacapavir scale up, lessons learned from Africa, Eastern Europe, Latin America, and the Caribbean, and of course also expanding to Asia and the Pacific. I'm going to make it more slow for the interpretation. Thank you. Let's go to the next slide, please. And This is again our QR code in which you can scan and contact us. And please fill the form because we're interested in collaborating with you. We're interested to hear from you and work together into the programmatic lines that we have been proposing for 2026. And also, if you have any additional information or idea you want to share, we want to hear from you. This is the opportunity we're collecting information, and this open collaboration will be all year round open to hear from our partners, advocates, flourishers, and colleagues all around the world. Thank you. And the next slide, please. And this is a very important space because we want to hear from our partners. We have invited first Ida from the RAM platform, and I want to give the floor to her. And first of all, thank all of partners that are going to give us some words of testimonies on the kind of work we're doing. So, Ida, s'il vous plaît, si vous étiez là, on t'écoute et merci beaucoup pour être avec nous aujourd'hui.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Angela. Thank you for inviting me to this webinar. And a quick presentation, I'm Ida Salvador, the coordinator of Francophone Africa Learning Hub. And I would like to speak on two main points. The first one will concern the collaboration with Women4GlobalFund we had during 2025. And the second one will be a summary on the engagement of women and young girls in the Global Fund processes during 2025. For our collaboration with you, we are very proud because during all the process of 2025, we were able to collaborate together with Women4GlobalFund mainly in organizing some webinars. And I have the example of a webinar that was held on September 2025 on pushing the last mile for gender transformative innovation investment through the Global Fund Eighth Replenishment. And during this webinar, I think we were able to present the priorities of adolescent girls and young women in Central and West Africa, and what the effort to do toward the eighth replenishment. And we see that in our region there are many inequalities, gender inequalities, and also we have some problem like stigmatization and discrimination. We also have some problem of access to health services for young women and girls. And what we can say that we are, with all that we see in the presentation you made from Angela, Andrea, and Alia, we see that many actions have been made toward the adolescent girl and young woman to enable them to have access to a better health in around the world and also in Central and West Africa. And congratulations to you for all the effort you made for you women. The second part of my presentation, of my speaking, is concerning the community engagement, mainly young women and young girl and women engagement in the Global Fund processes. I can say that this engagement in our region is more and more increasing because, for instance, during the reprioritization process, we see that women were more and more engaged because more and more in the CCMs in our countries, we have some representatives of women and young girls. And we can see in countries like Burkina Faso, Chad, Mali, Togo, there are some seats for women in the CCM. And this allows women to speak directly and to advocate for the taking into account the rights and duties in the global fund processes. We also have some human rights and gender seats in the CCM actually. And this is very helpful. And most of these seats are there by some women for human rights and gender. And we have the example of Mali and Mauritania. We also have Gabon, where we have this kind of seat within the CCM. So we can say that the engagement of women in the global fund processes is more and more important. And also concerning the three diseases, HIV, TB, and malaria, we also have some coalitions of women, some networks of women in the region. For HIV, for instance, we have Women for Global Fund that is also acting in Francophone Africa. For TB, we have TB Women, Francophone Africa, that exists, and this movement is led by myself. For malaria, we have CS for Me, who is led by some women. And also we have other network like Voice, Voix Essentielle, and so on, who is led by some women to fight against HIV, TB, and malaria. So I can say that women engagement in the global fund processes in West and Central Africa is really effective. And but we need to push again, because there are many things that need to be changed, because human rights and gender, generally for women, it's not easy in our context because of cultural aspects, sociocultural aspects that are not easy to put an end. But we hope that with you, with Women for Global Fund and so on, we will reach a good level of involvement of women in the global fund processes. I also want to stress that we were able to organize a meeting with Women for Global Fund in 2025 in Abidjan for the fight against HIV and how do we say, cancer du corps de l'utérus. And Women for Global Fund played a huge role in this workshop that was led by Médecins du Monde. And I want to thank you for your involvement in all these activities. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Ida, and thank you so much for your words and, of course, for all the collaborations we have achieved during this year. We're just looking forward for more in the upcoming 2026, and we congratulate all of you also on the Francophone platform for doing such a great job and for mobilizing efforts around TB women and also having you as a leader on the communities you're representing. So thank you so much, Ida, for your words, and we congratulate you on your amazing performance. Now, we want to give also the floor to our national focal point from Ghana, Priscilla Ama Ado. She is our national focal point representing women and girls advocates in Ghana and the region. And also she is our amazing leader, member of the community delegation at the Global Fund Board. Priscilla, we want to hear from you. You have the floor.
Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you so much, Women for Global Fund. Indeed, 2025 was an eventful year. It was really hard hitting for civil society organizations and community serving organizations. From the very beginning of the year, we have had to change or adapt to how we were working. But it was also the year for replenishments, the 8th replenishment, which is still ongoing. And the World Health Summit was one of the most key events where the Global Fund pushed for more funding or for replenishment, trying to encourage the government's presence, especially the German government, to pledge to the Global Fund. And it was successful because the German government used the opening ceremony at the World Health Summit in Berlin, Germany, to pledge €1 billion to the Global Fund. Essentially, though this was a very wonderful commitment to the Global Fund and to communities and to people who rely on the Global Fund, to the world, essentially, communities were a bit unhappy. Civil society were a bit unhappy because it was a decrement. It was a slight depreciation or a slight decrease from the amount that the German government had given in the seventh replenishment, because if countries continue to decrease their commitment, it would create gaps, and these gaps, people are going to fill it. It's going to create loss of lives, and cause people to be unable to still access services, and create or increase the marginalization gap. But in as much as these things are what we foresee, right? With less money, you can't do more. It becomes difficult to do more. But essentially, working with the Global Fund is to continue ensuring that communities are at the center. As part of my role as an NFP and also being on the Communities Delegation Board, our role or my role is to continue to ensure that communities are at the center, and that if cuts are going to happen, we look at how it can be mitigated. It's not easy. I think we all here know that it is definitely not an easy journey ahead. But I think if we've been able to survive 2025, there's really nothing that communities and civil societies cannot face and come triumphant. So I really want to thank Women for Global Fund for the incredible work they are doing. It all feeds into the grand picture. Everything we are doing at the community level feeds into the global picture at the end of the day. It's just so sad that we keep seeing these shortfalls, and we keep losing. That would help us do more, that would help us save lives, that would help us reduce deaths. But we see that the Women for Global Fund, organizations like Women for Global Fund, are committed to ensuring that communities stay at the center, and that governments are still responsible for the lives of people. And as a young advocate myself, working for the Global Network of Young People Living with HIV, we are committed to ensuring that young voices are still at the center, and we are holding our leaders accountable, policymakers accountable. And they don't like that, but we are still going to push on for that. And so I'd like to say thank you so much and hand it back to Angela.
Thank you so much, Priscilla, for your advocacy efforts, for your energy that you are bringing also to the representation of the youth in your region and to the world. And as you also accurately said, many people probably don't like the work because we are challenging the gender backlash in the world, and that's how we're going to keep on doing by 2026. We're not just going to be surviving, we're going to be thriving, and we are sure that with your commitment and with everyone else here present, we're going to do so. We're happy to also have Linda, or Women from Global Fund National Focal Point from Malawi. She joined as a very young leader, and we want to hear from you, Linda. So welcome to this webinar, and you have the floor, Linda. We cannot hear, you're muted, Linda.
Hi, everyone. Am I audible now?
There you go. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for this opportunity. For me, I'll start with the background, how I joined as a national focal point. At first, before I became a national focal point, I was just a flourisher. By then, EFE was the national focal point, and I didn't have any information on what Women for Global Fund is all about and whatnot. So when I was selected into the Global Fund Malawi country coordinating mechanism as the youth and age-wide debut representative, I started asking Ether to say, what is this Women for Global Fund all about? Because here I'm also serving as the youth and HYW representative. So I started searching on the internet, and then I came across the Women for Global Fund website, something that I never thought it was there. And then when I searched, I saw that Women for Global Fund, most of the times, they support women that are also into the CCM. And then for me, because I was just a newly elected CCM member, I really did not know much about Global Fund processes. And then for me, I was like, I think this is an opportunity for me to be representing the adolescent girls and young women really well in my country. And I think I really need to start being active as a Florisha. So I started being active. And then there was this other webinar that we had. It was on FGS, Fibrogenetic Schistosomiasis. I was so much interested about it because I did not know about FGS. And when I learned about it, I was concerned to say, but this is something that every girl is supposed to know. So I don't know. I think I catched the management team attention, but also I wrote an expression of interest to say I really want to become the national focal person, because for me, I saw it as an opportunity for me to be representing the adolescent girls and young women really well in the decision-making spaces in Malawi. So I joined as a national focal person, and there are a lot of things that I have done as a national focal person, but also professionally, I have grown into a confident young person. And we recently had the FGS meeting, and we were talking about FGS, how it's affecting women in Malawi. And then when we went to a meeting, to a repetization meeting, I advocated for that, and the government announced to say we are going to invest more in the FGS, whereby they will be purchasing more of prescriptive drugs. And I was super excited to say, oh, so this is the goodness of advocating and also being empowered. If I was not empowered, I wouldn't have done what I did. And then the other thing, I was also responsible. I'm still responsible for coordinating the forishers in Malawi. And to be honest with you, everyone, I have a strong team, a team that is. I have a team that they are so passionate about women's health. And even if you say, let's join a meeting, you won't receive anything. You will still see them, and even here, they're still here. So I'm also blessed with a good team that is so passionate. And in the year 2025, we had a meeting, or a hybrid meeting, and as the CCM youth, but also as the national focal, I conducted that hybrid meeting where I educated, but also facilitated a meeting on the Global Fund processes, what Women for Global Fund is all about. And it was really nice, and we learned a lot. And the other thing that I did in the year 2025 was that I was also lucky to, I was invited by the UNAIDS PCP board meeting, whereby I joined virtually as the NGO observation. And there I represented all the young women in Malawi and also Africa, and the youth as well, where we presented our statement on the issue of sunsetting UNAIDS. And for me, that was also an opportunity to be recognized by the UN Secretary General, something that would have not happened if I was not the CCM member, but also national focal person. And the other thing that I did recently, in November, we had 16 days of activism, and in collaboration with Women for Change Malawi, we did an advocacy activity whereby we had a big walk for 11 kilometers, and we were raising voices, but also we were advocating for violence, the dangers of violence against women and girls on internet. And it was really, really, really nice, and it's something that has also helped me to, I was so happy, to be honest, because at the end of the day, people shared their stories. And this is something that is also in line with what Women for Global Fund is all about: empowering women, empowering young women for them to become agents of change, but also for them to be bold enough to speak in the decision-making spaces, not just in decision-making spaces, wherever we are. So that is something that I have done as the national focal person. But also, the other thing is that we were also, as the national focal persons, we were also responsible for collaborating with Women for Global Fund by drafting letters to be delivered at the embassies. That is something that was so exciting to me, because on a normal circumstances, I couldn't have had a chance to interact with let's say, embassy of UK, embassy of Netherlands. But as the national focal person, I had that opportunity. But also, I have learned how to advocate. To be honest, Women for Global Fund is so active on social media. If you go on their website, they're always doing something. If you go on LinkedIn, there's always a lot. If you want to know more about Global Fund, you find it. You just go on the Women for Global Fund page. But also, personally, as the CCM member, I have had the chance to be mentored by Women for Global Fund management team. For example, when we had the meeting for urbanization, I reached out to Alia, I reached out to Angela to say, I have a meeting. You know, CCM is also one of the political spaces. Most of the times, they don't really want to hear what young women want to say, because at the end of the day, the issue of not including young women in spaces is still there. But then at the end of the day, I was mentored, but also I was given the materials to present really well. And that is something that I have done as a national focal person. And yeah, kudos to the team. We are really doing great, and I'm super happy to be part of the team. And also, I'm so happy that you gave me the opportunity to speak. Thank you, and over.
Thank you, Linda, for your amazing contributions, your lively energy. And we are really happy, and also National Focal Points are very proud to see you transitioning from Flourisher to National Focal Point. And of course, keep on mobilizing all the efforts around your country and also the region, learning from new topics and sharing all your experiences also on the ground with us, so we can have informed advocacy and a strong presence of women and girls in the diversity. So we thank you very much to Ida, to Priscilla, to Linda, and to all our national focal points that are here. I see also Olerato, I see Alice from Botswana, Tanzania. Thank you so much for coming together. And we want to just have these final minutes to give our vote of thanks to our partners, all collaborators, women groups and networks. We see many of our partners here together, and we have reached around 80 people today present in our webinar, and we are aiming for much more. This is our picture when we also want to thank our steering group for their advisor and their support. And we have our 10 national focal points represented in the countries. Here you can also get into contact with them. So if you want to become an advocate, please contact national focal points. Please contact us and also join as a partner for future collaborations. I thank you so much for this time together, and we will see you all next upcoming days and months, because you will hear more about Women for Global Fund, and we will be inviting you to join our workshops, webinars, meetings, and open collaborations for the upcoming events that we are going to do both in person and also virtually. So thank you very much. Merci beaucoup tout le monde pour la participation aujourd'hui. On est vraiment contente avec vous. Muchas gracias a todas y a todos por estar el día de hoy con nosotros en este webinar para nuestras colegas de América Latina y el Caribe. And together we have made significant strides in tackling systemic barriers for achieving gender equality and equity. And we just want to have more collaborations. So join us in 2026 to continue championing health equity and gender transformative HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria responses. Please support and fund our mission and amplify the impact. Thank you very much for today's present, and see you very soon. can we just have finally a family picture? And if you can please, all of you that can put your cameras, we would like to have on a family picture portrait. Um, and we are going to have translation into Spanish. I hope you had the subtitles at least in Spanish. Next time we will do it. Thank you. It's great to see you. So let's have a family picture. Are we? Thank you. Great. So thank you, colleagues. I see many familiar faces, so very happy to see you here. Thank you so much for being present today. Muchas gracias a los colegas también de América Latina y el Caribe, the colleagues from Asia and the Pacific, Central Asia and Eastern Europe, MENA region, Francophone Africa, Anglophone Africa. All our colleagues, thank you so much. We are going to share the information by email and post it also in the social media. So please get in touch by your social media channels and we will be sharing more information. Thank you so much and happy Gender Equality 2026.